Deputy Harris? Darrell Booth. Hope you like flying.
Just another movie night.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. We are Just Another Movie Night, and I am Scott.
And I'm Joe.
And we're doing what?
Well, it's before and after, or talking trash.
No. Oh, that's true. Let's open our beer.
Okay, let's open the beer.
Oh, man, we figured this might be a beer movie.
Cheers. We're drinking
Cheers.
Victory Brewing Company Juicy Monkey IPA.
They're not a sponsor.
Looking for a sponsor. Looking for a sponsor.
All right, so look, this is before and after reviews where we go see a brand new movie in the theater and give our thoughts before and after. And they're usually messy thoughts. It's just instant, raw thoughts. Just like right now while we're drinking.
Yeah.
And today we're seeing Flight Risk. Which we didn't know until like 3 or 4 days ago that this was a Mel Gibson movie. No idea. We're seeing this mostly because we like trash.
Yep.
And the trailer is pretty much a trashy trailer because it literally showed the entire movie.
It 100% showed the entire movie, yes, sir. But I can't help but stare at Mark Wahlberg's fucking head.
Yeah. So Mark
What's
Wahlberg
happening?
actually wanted to shave his head for this role.
So they did that to him?
He did that to himself.
No.
That was his own idea.
He had a luscious head of hair. I don't know why he would choose to do such a thing.
Such a bizarre
But,
choice.
You know, I mean, he's probably making $1 million something for this. So I would shave my head if someone offered me that kind of money.
You know, this is kind of one of those opening of the year movies where you just start off like at the beginning of the year with a bunch of like fodder movies that are just so kind of like weird and they scratch that itch.
Yeah.
And we started off pretty strong with Den of Thieves 2.
Yeah, we did.
Which scratched that, you know, that thievery movie. They're not looking to win awards. They're not doing these things. They're trying to entertain. And so...
That was a good action movie.
Yeah, and so here, this is that thriller, bizarre, trapped in a location thriller, murder, like kind of a thing. But like we said, the trailer gave so much away, it feels odd.
Yeah.
It feels like it's something, like how are we going to talk about this movie? Like, or how is this movie going to work? There's no way there could be a secret because the trailer already told us everything.
True. Yeah. I mean, I think we know what's going on here. I mean, in the trailer, we see, who is it? Topher Grace?
Yeah, Topher Grace
Which is strange, but it's okay. So he's a witness to a crime or something, right?
He's he's going to testify.
Right. So
against the mob.
Right. Okay. Now, am I hallucinating or did I see him in shackles?
Yeah.
On the plane.
Because I think he was a criminal that worked with the mob and is turning them in.
Ah.
I think that he is, it could be Falcone. It could be, you know, Penguin. We don't know who he's turning in.
Maroney.
Yeah.
Falcone.
This could be the Penguin situation and he's sending one of his hitman.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that cool.
No.
Or this could turn out to be a secret M. Night Shyamalan movie where all of a sudden, you know, Josh Hartnett is in there.
Oh my God.
That would be amazing.
Does he play like the criminal mastermind? I'd like it. I'd like it very much.
What if Mark Wahlberg takes off his mask, his face,
and
then he's
Josh Hartnett?
What are we talking about? Yeah, let's talk about this. So Mel Gibson. Now, I know this is an iffy conversation, right? And like some people just loathe him, you know, and I get it, you know, but this is a guy that was one of my favorite actors when I was a kid. Mm-hmm. He was in everything. And I'm going to say he became an even better director because he literally directed two movies that I think are maybe on the list of the best movies ever made.
Yeah.
And that would be Braveheart and Apocalypto for me.
Yeah.
Hacksaw Ridge, pretty damn close. Mm-hmm. And that's why I was shocked when I found out this movie was directed by him.
Yeah, I was shocked too when I saw that. I was like, oh boy.
Yeah.
This is shocking to me. But here's the thing. Mel Gibson was also one of my favorites too. He was great as an action star in the
jeez, yeah.
80s. He was great. But
Did everything.
he did everything. And then he just went on that whole like thing with his craziness and
And it hasn't ended.
saying more stupid shit and just
Yeah.
his rantings and ravings and nasty comments and I'm sorry, he's not a good person. Okay.
It's like I don't even want to say that because I have that debate like, oh, was it the alcohol? Was it whatever?
You say it once, it's the fucking alcohol. You say it 3 times, it's not the alcohol no more.
Yeah, I know it's so
All right.
crazy.
So he's been doing this repeatedly, and he's just not a nice person.
So we say that, and then like you hear these stories, right? Like, and I always say, isn't it iffy to pick and choose who we loathe or who we don't give second chances? Because this is a guy, one of the people who gave a second chance to Robert Downey Jr. Now, nobody's turning their backs on Robert Downey Jr. right now, even though he has also done terrible things.
Yeah, excuse me, I'm burping.
We're drinking beer.
Sorry.
So it's like that, I always want to say, like, do we give chances? I do. Because has he murdered anybody? Has he done anything? Like, he has said some terrible things, and he was an alcoholic, and I don't know what's going on with him now, but he still seems, not in the best light.
No, but has he made that public apology or said anything to the effect of, I really regret the things that I've said?
Well, his whole life was put on spotlight.
You know what? I'm sorry, but if you do something that's not right, not very human like, you should actually step up and make an apology and say, hey, I was not in a good place or what have you. He never did that. He keeps sticking his foot in his mouth.
Is that right? He's never apologized? He's
to
never
my
come out and
knowledge,
said anything?
he has never made a public statement.
I feel like he has.
I don't know. We'll have to look into that. But I mean, as far as I know, I have not seen anything where he, publicly acknowledged that he said some fucked up shit. And I think that's wrong. People that mess up should own up to their mistakes and say something.
I can't imagine he hasn't, but I haven't researched it. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm drinking here.
Yeah. So I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. But he's one of those guys that's like, I'm constantly gonna give him a chance. I think, of course, he could go too far, and then maybe I wouldn't. But
yeah,
I do think he's one of these people that you hear good things that he's done, and you hear the bad things that he's done, and you're like, I want to give him a chance. I feel like everybody down deep, I want to say they're not truly evil, but this also could be my, giving him a pass because of my childhood nostalgia for him.
that's the Bill Cosby effect.
Yeah, no,
That's
I'm
the-
Michael Jackson.
That is the Michael Jackson effect. That's wrong.
This is a weird thing, right? These are you naming everybody that like we grew up with that we loved.
It's hurtful. It's hurtful as
insane.
hell. And,
I will say that Bill Cosby and Michael Jackson probably did worse than Mel Gibson. But
absolutely,
sure.
but still, they're still in the same realm. It's like P. Diddy and all these people that are coming out with these terrible accusations, and I mean, I am looking at this though. Mel Gibson did make an apology toward the anti-Semitic slur that he slung over at a Jewish police officer. He did. That was back in 2006.
And
but
he
since
was drunk
then,
at the time, right?
Yeah. But
I know
since
that
then,
doesn't
he's
make it
just-
any better, but I'm just
No.
saying when you're out of your mind and you're being harassed, you say terrible things that hurt people.
Okay, got that. But then it's happened again since 2006. So how do you explain that? Are you gonna,
It's a shame.
he just keeps sticking his foot in his mouth. It's like, just shut up, man.
Yeah.
Like if you want people to respect you and you want people to go see your movies, why don't you make things right? Why don't you stop, acting like an asshole?
You're right. And here we are going to see one of those movies.
Oh, I'm seeing it for reasons that are completely superficial.
I feel
'cause
weird.
I want to laugh.
Yeah, I wanted to put all this out there because I wanted to say, like, if anybody's offended that we're seeing one of his movies, It's not. We're not doing it out of.
Oh, well, I wrote on Instagram that it's not because of the incredible acting talent of Mark Wahlberg or because Mel Gibson's a stand-up stellar person. It's because this is going to turn into a talking trash, and that's my favorite thing.
Okay, I mean that's true. Thank you for bringing that up because should we talk about our feelings about the actors in this movie?
Yeah, you just start. Go ahead. I'm going to take a sip.
Because I don't think Mark Wahlberg. I know this is gonna piss people off even more than the things I've already said, but I don't think he's the best actor. I think that when he's the best, he is doing himself. But we've seen him. You have actors who have like a Rolodex in their mind where they can do any trick to get out of terrible writing. They can turn terrible writing, and we already brought up Josh Hartnett, and that's a perfect example because he made like the M. Night Shyamalan movie he did fantastic. Like the movie's not good. I shouldn't say. I should rephrase
fantastic.
that. No, his performance in it was doing the heavy lifting. He was entertaining to watch, and he knew what to do because he had a Rolodex in his mind, and he knew how to do it. And now the same actor, Mark Wahlberg, didn't have that Rolodex because when he did an M. Night Shyamalan movie, it's the worst acting I've ever seen.
It is.
Here, I'm hoping that he can step up and show because we did see him in Fear, where he did play a good lunatic.
Yeah, but you even laughed and you thought that was comical.
Yeah,
you thought that his acting, his overacting with his eyebrow acting and his mean face was comical. You thought it was a bit much.
I do.
I like Fear. I think it's good. I think that, I don't think it holds up. It came out, what, 96 or something like that. I don't know. But I don't think it holds up. But
no.
I don't think that movie was bad. I actually, if it's on TV, I'll watch it. But otherwise, I mean, he did The Departed. And then
that's what I said.
Was a good...
Departed, though, is him.
Yeah, true. But I mean, I think also him being surrounded by that stellar cast also kind of helped him along.
I say that the best movie, I think the best acting he's ever done is Boogie Nights.
Yes, you love that movie.
I think he is fantastic because the director is such a great director. He knew exactly how to use him.
Yeah.
He specifically wanted him to do that for a reason. And you can tell when you watch it, he's getting the performance out of him that he wanted.
Yeah.
So I think that's his best movie. I do like things like The Basketball Diaries. I do like things. He has been in good movies, but I've never, specifically said this is he's great.
No, I don't think he's a great actor.
He's lucky.
He's lucky.
He's on my list of lucky guys.
I know people are going to get mad at us for saying that.
I am sorry.
I don't dislike him. I just don't think he's a great actor. I think that, he has gotten very lucky. Because let's face it, his rap career was very fleeting. Yeah. And
when I close my eyes, I think about two things when I think Mark Wahlberg. I think, what? No, from The Happening. And I think Andy Samberg saying, say hello to your mother for me. And I just can't stop thinking about those things with him. And I want to think about good things, but I can't.
Right.
Like, I don't particularly, I don't hate him or his acting or his movies or his choices. I don't hate them. Oh, by the way, I'm talking about people who got second chances. He's on that list. I don't even know why we didn't bring that up, but yeah, he's got a lot of chances as well. Yeah, that's how I feel about him, and I gotta say the same goes for Topher Grace.
Yeah, I don't really know enough about Topher Grace's body of work besides that 70s show.
I mean, we've seen him in movies. What was it? In the Black Messiah, in the Black Messiah, what he was in, he played the head of the Klan.
Okay.
Right, and he was like, I think that's what and he virtually felt like himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when he played Venom, he played in the Spider-Man 3. It's not good. It was not a good choice. Everybody's baffled by it.
I just don't see in him anything that stands out to me. Like he's all right. He's there. It's not like he's knocking boots off. He's not knocking your socks off. It's just he's all right. I don't have anything against him. But he's never done anything that's like impressed me or like stand out or anything like that. So,
by the way, the movie was called Judah and the Black Messiah, and I could not get the name out of my brain.
I totally forgot about that movie.
Yeah, that's
Isn't
actually
that Adam Driver too, right? He was in that.
Yes.
Yeah, Adam Driver pissed me off recently too. Not because of him being an asshole human being, because he's not. But he made that god awful movie.
Well, yeah, that's a conversation for another time. Or you can listen to our previous episode where we could not believe what we had seen.
Oh, I wish I could take it back.
So, yeah, that's pretty much our thoughts, right? Now, what do you think you're going to walk out with? You said this is a talking trash. Do you think it'll be a 5 or under?
I think it'll be a 5 or under.
Wow, oh my God, I am not looking forward to this.
I don't know, I do, because I just think, well, it might be just like a mediocre. So it might be a 5, which is just eh.
Yeah.
Or it could be pushed over a little bit to the 6, which is a good film. Not a great one, but decent.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Right.
I have a feeling
like
that everything's going to make me laugh because I'm going in thinking that this is going to be a trash heap. Well, so I'll be laughing at everything, and I know myself, and I'll just be like, oh, Lord, face palm, face palm, face palm.
I think the only thing that's going to be distractingly funny is his head. It's... Even the commercials, it's very off-putting. You can't stop staring at it. Like, whoa, what the... It's distracting.
It is. Who's the main actress? Is that Michelle Monaghan?
Is that who that is? I didn't look this up beforehand.
I think it might be Michelle Monaghan. I don't know. Well, let's hope that this is... I don't know. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, we set the tone for what our review might entail about how we feel about everybody around it. I think that's important to set up.
Yeah, well, so, I talked to my friend at work, and he's like, I don't understand why you would want to go see this movie if you know it's going to turn into a talking trash, and it's got actors you don't like and a director who is like anti-Semitic piece of crap. I'm like, well, you know, when you say it like that, man.
Yeah, no,
like,
make me feel worse. But you know what? Did you just look at him and say, yeah, everything about what you just said made me want to watch it?
Yeah, well, he's like, well, you know, I know that you guys see all movies and you like watching bad movies. And I'm like, yeah, you know this about us. So like,
I just like movies and I want to give everything a chance.
Yeah, we're giving it a chance. I mean, and plus there is always that hope that it's going to be a piece of crap. And I love bad movies.
You do. And I have to point this out real fast. People are probably like, oh my, shut up and talk about the movie. I was going to say that right now in the theater, every movie that's going to be nominated for an Academy Award is in the theater. Mm-hmm. And you're like, I can't wait to see Flight Risk. And I'm like, you know what? I married the right woman.
Well, I mean, come on. I heard bad things about Amelia Perez.
We're going to get to that sooner or later,
I mean,
hopefully.
Everyone hates that fucking movie.
Someone likes it. The Academy, apparently.
Yeah, but that means nothing.
Well, we're off track.
Anyway, all right,
let's
we're
go
going
see
to see
the movie.
Deputy Harris, hope you like flying. Beautiful day for it. I never flew U.S. Marshal before. Why is he all chained up?
I have to get him to New York so we can testify against the Moretti crime family.
Okay, hey, you're the boss.
Don't touch me. I'm a real life. Psycho killer. Qu'est-ce que c'est?
Don't shoot him, we need him!
Mayday, mayday. We've been compromised. The pilot's a hitman.
I'm gonna tear you apart. The tiny little pieces, they're gonna need the entire forensics team to identify you.
And we're back. We saw a movie and it sucked. How you doing? What would you like to start, honey?
Yeah, it sucked. I mean, I gotta say, it's pretty bad when Topher Grace is the one that saves the movie. And he didn't even save the movie.
Oof.
That's what I'm telling you. It was that bad. It was bad. And the acting coming off Mark Wahlberg and this other girl who is not Michelle Monaghan, by the way. Her name is Michelle Dockery. I don't recall seeing her in anything. Like, I guess she's on Downton Abbey. We don't watch that. But she was on The Gentleman. We did watch that. But her acting was atrocious in this. Atrocious.
I wouldn't say it was atrocious.
It was atrocious.
I would say that Okay. I should have known the movie was. I knew it. Well, I shouldn't say I shouldn't know. I knew the moment I saw a CG window with a moose looking in it that this was going to be a disaster from then on.
Yeah.
I knew it right there. I was like, oh my God, what? That's terrible.
Yeah.
Okay. There are so many problems. I cannot believe this is the man who directed Apocalypto.
I'm in shock.
Yeah. Because I will say I guess it's easy to talk about positives.
Okay. Yeah, let's do that.
I like plane transitions.
Okay. All right.
They kept getting the camera flying around the plane, like even through the propeller
Yeah.
and showing like the outside of the plane. And I was like, yeah, I like this establishing transitions of the plane moving and like needing to tell us things. Like, that's not so bad.
Okay. What else?
I can't think of another thing.
That's it? So that's the positives?
I think that Topher Grace he's only making it as a celebrity off of he's charming.
Is he though?
I don't know how to say it. There's something about him. I don't want anything to happen to him. But at the same time, I wanted to punch his face so bad throughout this movie. But I was like, oh, but I really don't want anything to happen to him.
You know, I do understand that. I see that. He has like this like boyish kind of charm, but then also he has like he's punchable.
Yeah, he's the kid on the playground that you don't want to see bullied, but you kind of understand it because he's annoying.
Yeah.
And you're like, I get it, but I really want to defend this kid.
Yeah.
That's Topher Grace in this. I would say like that's him in almost every movie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think that here it was. The problem is, like you said, it was the least bad thing in the film. So it was like easier to forgive everything with him, even though he's annoying. Because he virtually boils down to a character that goes, what's happening? What are we doing? What's going on? Oh my God. That's it.
He does have some like funny one-liners. Like
Some of them are so forced.
Some of them are very forced, but at least he brings some sort of comic relief when it really needs it. Really needs it. Because you don't know whether you want to punch these people or just embrace them. And I got to tell you, I just couldn't embrace them. I thought the characters were fucking awful.
I feel like we have to do a spoiler talk.
Okay,
and
let's
just quickly review the film and then just go into spoilers because there's so much to talk about. And I don't really know if any of it's a spoiler because it doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter. I mean, what's in the trailer for me, one of these things that annoyed me, and I didn't understand what was going on, why they needed to do this, but why did Mark Wahlberg insist on shaving his head? What was the reasoning?
I don't know.
Because we're supposed to believe that this guy isn't as... Okay, sorry, it's in the trailer, but spoilers now. Spoilers.
Oh, we're not doing spoilers yet, are we? We're just going to review the film and then just go into it?
Oh, he's supposed to be an assassin. Why do we care if he's bald? Why he's wearing a toupee?
Joe, I don't know.
What is the reasoning behind that?
I think that he thinks... I have a lot of thoughts about this.
Okay.
I have a lot of thoughts about this film being some kind of... it seems borderline offensive in certain things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but I think that Mark Wahlberg made a choice considering what his character constantly talks about, and I don't know if that's what he's thinking, and that's why he wanted to do that. Let's review this really quickly. This movie's a mess. There is so many problems. Beyond acting, the script is extremely bare bones, loose, and you don't care. There are mess ups galore. This is a small little location movie, and every shot, it constantly forgets what it's doing. So if you look in the backgrounds, you'll see things that are happening that shouldn't be happening yet. Mm-hmm. Or you'll see a character do something, and then the next shot, when you see from behind, they're doing nothing like they were just doing. There is some ADR that comes out of nowhere in certain sequences. There is questionable CG. There is, oh my God, there's so much.
The dialogue.
the-
Can we talk about the
This
dialogue?
that goes into the scripting.
It's
The script is
dreadful.
completely. It's like it had a concept but didn't know how to do the other halves of the concept, so it doesn't feel like it works ever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say that very quickly, if I had to review this film, I would have to give this a 4 out of 10.
Wow, you're better than me.
You want to go 3? I'm going to give it a 4.
This movie is a 3. This is atrocious. I mean, this was. I mean, just the dialogue. And I read the trivia. Mark Wahlberg actually improvised most of his character's dialogue, and you can fucking tell.
Okay, see, I'm telling you, we'll get into it. We'll get into it in spoilers because you want to give it a 3, you said?
Oh, it's a 3.
So and you have more of a fast negative roll down before we go into spoilers?
Well, I thought that we're talking about character development. It was so bare bones. They told us only the bare minimum about one character pretty much. And the other 2 were just kind of like thrown to the wayside. And the one character that did give us background on, we didn't give a shit about. I don't care about, the U.S. Marshal. I wanted to know about Topher Grace. I wanted to know what was Mark Wahlberg's whole deal, which was very generic. It didn't drive me in,
Did you have any positives? You're giving it a lower score than me, and I hardly had any positives.
Well, I mean, the only positive is that I semi wanted Topher Grace to be okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I otherwise, this is crappy CG. I mean, just the poor decisions that were made by the characters in this film and the plot. It was dreadful. It's a 3, and then when we get into spoilers, I will tell every goddamn thing that I think.
Okay, so let's just now quickly go into spoilers because we both dislike this movie. I'm giving it more of a pass because it is a film. It's like it's watchable. It's not like the most unwatchable thing ever. And there are some good plain stuff going on. I don't know if any of it's practical from the outside. I don't think it is, but it doesn't look so bad. It's inside that it's just like a mess. And again, you kind of feel a certain way for one of the characters. So there's that. So that's why I'm giving it a 4. But now let's quickly go into spoilers. So
All right,
everybody, this is it. This is your warning. If you don't want to hear a spoiler, get out of here.
3, 2, 1. Let's jam. All right. So the way I see this is that, okay, so this is a U.S. Marshal played by Michelle, whatever. And so she's tasked with taking Topher Grace to Alaska, or somewhere in Alaska,
Yeah, she's going from Alaska
to Seattle. So he could testify against the crime family that he worked for. Yeah. He was a money launderer. So he's going to testify against them. And that's the whole point of her picking him up in a hotel in Alaska. He's on the run. All right. So they proceed to charter the single most rickety plane you have ever seen in your life. Like, this is like a 3-seater piece of crap. And they didn't even bother to like vet the pilot, find out if they can trust the person. Anyone could have just jumped in that pilot seat and, done this.
Well, that's the thing that's really weird about it is that they did, because they tell us at one point randomly that they went to his house, which was really confusing because I thought they were going to the mother's house. Mm-hmm. But then they randomly say that they went to the pilot's house and found him torn up.
Yeah, so he was dead.
I was like, so they did know this pilot, but did Mark Wahlberg's character kill everybody that worked at that airstrip?
Right, yeah.
Because he got on the headphones and there was no chatter.
There's no chatter.
I mean, we can't tell because he just went on there, and then she finally put on her headphones.
Right, but she couldn't hear the tower or anything, so he could have just been pretending the whole time, and it just clicked off the whole system. But here's the thing about this: it's like, all right, So they find out that he's obviously not who he says he is.
Yeah, and real fast before you go too far there, I just want to say, why didn't he kill them the moment he was on that plane?
Right.
Like all he had to do was shoot them both, and they fly. But then they had to set up that he is, of course, your typical bullshit character that feels like he needs to play with his food.
He played with his food for an hour and a half. It was so obnoxious.
Well, he wants to play with them even more.
I was like,
And
come
that's
on.
Well, the Mark Wahlberg stuff comments. I mean, where were you going? Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sorry, I just
Mark.
wanted to
No,
say
it's
that.
like he was Mark Wahlberging the fucking Wahlberg out of this shit. I mean,
It's an odd
it was
choice.
so ridiculous, and you could tell he was ad-libbing his lines because it was just so over the top acting. It was so ridiculous.
I don't know if it was supposed to be scary. I
No,
don't know
it
what
was
it
comical. It was jokey. He was terrible.
He was talking about raping Topher Grace. So that's what I was like, okay, so his idea of what this man would be, and then he's also making up his dialogue as he goes in the film. Is this some kind of weird, bizarre version of what he thinks a gay man is?
I guess he did some time in the clink, and he knows what it's like in there.
What, you mean the character?
The character.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he made up this stuff, that's where I'm like, why did he shave his head? Is that like what he thinks this guy would be?
Yeah,
I don't know. And it was very off-putting. And I was like, is this like borderline, like a weird offensive thing with him? Like, I don't really understand it. Like, I know that's reading into it too much, but I'm like, why would he make these choices as an actor?
Right. But I mean, why would, okay, if he took this role, okay, fine. He wanted to ham it up because that's exactly what he did. But I don't understand, like, when you have a plot like this, you know exactly what's going to happen. It is so predictable. It's just so predictable. Obviously, you know, she could have just shot Mark Wahlberg so many times, but instead she chains him
That's
up
a whole thing.
and he gets away, and every little thing falls into place that you know, they make a point to do all the cliches and show the shots of there's a knife under the seat. No, that's going to come into play. You know, it's like, everything is just set up so, like, as a cliche in this movie.
I mean, yeah, the whole movie itself is one giant trope.
It
But
is.
I will say that what made me laugh throughout the whole movie was that the guy who were trying to help, you know, testify, the criminal, is like, kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, I'm not that person.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? There's a hitman who is talking about raping and killing you guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to keep leaving him alive. And in multiple times, I kept pointing it out to you during the movie. I said, when did this handcuff get on?
Right.
When did they put the ties on his hands? Because it just all of a sudden is there.
No,
And I
they
was
showed
like,
they showed that. They put the
they
ties-
showed him go up here, but then all of a sudden he's there.
Well, they did put the zip ties on his hands. I mean, it's funny because,
see it.
like, you see that he's trying to kill you, and he gets out of the handcuffs not once but twice,
Yeah, and the
and
second
attacks them.
Yeah, the second time we cut past him being handcuffed because I was really like pissed while I was watching. I was like, he's just knocked out from a fire extinguisher hitting him in the head. He's just laying there. And she got back on the headphones like there was no problem.
Right.
And I'm like, he's going to get back up. And then all of a sudden they cut to him and he's handcuffed
Yeah.
to the bottom of the thing. I was like,
They just skip past anything that's not important, I guess. So this whole entire, like, I don't know how you feel about the directing here, but I feel like there was literally no directing here. They were in a tiny little enclosed space. I don't feel like there was anything extraordinary about the directing. I thought that this was like the most ridiculous, over the top scenario. And I just thought the acting was just terrible.
I'm struggling to find out. In my mind, I was thinking about this. Why did he choose to make this movie? Because he has always made big scope films. He has made a couple smaller films, but the last like 3 or 4 in a row were giant films. I can understand the budget's not there and all that. Then why make this small film? What about it was something important to him? Because it felt like somebody doing a favor and just being like, yeah, here you go.
Well, I mean, my personal opinion on that question is that I think he did this small film because I don't think that, big top producers and studios are willing to give him any more.
Yeah, but he's working on the Passions of the Christ sequel, right? So, I mean, he's making another one of these films.
What?
Yeah, so he's going to make the next, whatever, the next story. And that's got to be a big scope.
Okay.
So I'm like, if he's going to do that again, he's working on something big. Why would he take a small film like this? It feels very beneath him and his art. Like as much as someone doesn't respect him, the guy has directed some great stuff back to back to back.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you don't like Passions of the Christ, it's well directed. It's well produced. It looks good. And so here I'm like, I don't understand what it is about this movie. If he thought maybe it was a fast buck, hoping that Mark Wahlberg is some kind of draw, I don't think he is.
No.
But
I mean, he's a draw for us because we knew this movie was going to be crap.
Well, we see everything, and that's our problem. But yeah, this is a really odd movie for me, and multiple times throughout this movie, I kept questioning, what are we supposed to be feeling? How are we supposed to be completely frustrated constantly?
Yeah, because, I mean, we knew that they weren't going to kill Mark Wahlberg anyway right away because he's the pilot. So, of course, we have to enact some new plan of action for her to contact her superior over at the U.S. Marshal Office.
Oh, this whole thing.
And go through a whole fucking plot of who the leak is, because how did they know where they were going to be for Mark Wahlberg to get on that plane and sabotage the operation? So someone in the Marshal's office is the freaking leak, and had to go through that whole cliche.
This is what I was talking about too, with the needing another part of the film that wasn't filmed, which would be the outside world.
Right.
So you usually would make a more interesting film by actually following the characters on the outside, so we get to know them, so things matter. Here, we're just meeting disembodied voices, and those voices are our main characters, and they are all, I would say that people phoned in their roles, especially a tech support guy.
Okay, so there's
that might also be another bizarre cliche stereotype.
His name
problem.
is Hassan, and he is the guy that's in the tower directing her how to land the plane, because the pilot's obviously Mark Wahlberg and he's incapacitated. So she needs to land the plane. So we meet this character that she calls named Hassan, and he is the most over-the-top character. This lady is literally in a life or death situation, and he's talking about taking her out to dinner, talking about his dancing skills, talking about just trying to be like overly goofy, charming.
I think to help her land the plane, but it comes off
creepy,
bizarre, like another movie. Again, I can't stop thinking about M. Night Shyamalan's dialogue, where the characters are talking in ways where they feel like robots.
Yeah.
And when this started happening, I was like, did we just enter a comedy? Mm-hmm. Because I don't know what this is now.
Yeah.
It never stopped.
It's funny because it seemed like a comedy, although you weren't laughing.
No, it wasn't funny at all.
It was weird.
It was kind of off-putting.
It was.
And all I could think was, is this another Mark Wahlberg character? Is this another bad guy?
Right. I kept thinking that character who was supposed to help her land the plane was, a bad guy, and he was diverting her to the wrong place. That would have been cool. But apparently, no, he was actually helping. So I was like, I don't know. But his little one-liners and asking her out to dinner, I would be like, motherfucker, I am literally about to crash this plane and die.
Yeah.
And you're talking about taking me dancing?
Yeah, and I will say that the movie, I don't know if this was intentional, if they were hoping that we would question everybody in the movie and say, oh, this is the villain, this is the mole. But the movie doesn't set that up. It only starts, there is no suspense or mystery. Things just start slowly getting revealed. But the problem is, it's like the movie wants us to think about what the mystery is. Mm-hmm. Because at one point, and this isn't discussed, it's completely never talked about again, and it is just one moment that is only lingering in the viewer's mind. But the guy who's helping them fly, I guess, can see them on a satellite.
Yeah, I
As
guess
some
so.
kind of they can see them in the airspace, I guess.
Yeah.
They seem too far out for that. I thought this was an FBI agent of some sort, but I don't know who he is. But he helps them set up the plane to fly. And then they almost crash into a mountain, which would make the watcher think, oh, the guy helping is working for the FBI and is the mole, because he set them in a path to fly into a mountain.
That's what it seemed like, yeah.
And then they go, no discussion.
Nope.
There's not a second thought about it.
No.
There's no second idea of not trusting this guy. That why did you send me into a path of a mountain? Shouldn't I have gone up higher? You knew there was mountain ranges in my path.
Yep.
I it's baffling, and I just kept going. Is the movie now thinking that we're supposed to guess about stuff, because you have to establish the mystery to make me guess?
Right.
And so when the character starts saying that her boss is maybe the villain, which, by the way, it extremely says it is. Every minute something
Of course,
happens.
because how is the whole mission compromised? I mean, someone had to know where they were.
Yeah,
I mean, it's obvious.
And the only reason that the character even figures out that this is not happening and that it is the other person is that Topher Grace just drops a line of dialogue that there is no way she heard. And you know why she didn't hear it?
Because she had her headphones on.
No, she was knocked out at the time, but she was pretending to be knocked out, I guess. But the movie did establish an idea that you can't hear each other without headphones on. Mm-hmm. Because you're in a small plane, you would hear the engine.
Right.
But that doesn't come back because everybody can hear everybody in the plane at all times after that.
But she couldn't hear Topher Grace trying to warn her that he wasn't the pilot.
Yeah.
So-
because she had her headphones on at that point.
Because movie.
Exactly.
I mean, just the ridiculous clowning of Mark Wahlberg in this movie. I mean, he was just, you could tell everything he said was just made up. It was just him, showboating, hamming it up, but he just came off ridiculous. Like, it wasn't good acting. He didn't come off menacing at all. He came off like a goober. Like, he just looked like a goober. He acted like a goober. There was nothing menacing or terrifying about him as the villain.
No, not at all.
Nothing.
I mean, if that's what they were going for, it didn't come off that way.
No.
He's talking about tweaking Topher Grace's nipples.
I know.
You have the mystery about Topher Grace's mother. Maybe it's like kind of a thing to think about. Like, is his mother alive or dead?
Yeah.
Do you ever get told? No.
No, they use his mother as like, something against him. Like, we're going to go kill your mother if you testify against this crime boss. And all the Marshall does is send FBI units over there to check on her. But we never know if she's alive or anything. I mean, Topher Grace is hanging on by a thread because he got stabbed by Mark Wahlberg. So we don't even know if he's going to make it. But I'm assuming that he does, and he gets to testify. And, Finn.
I love that they tell us that her random friend that she accidentally thought was a bad guy got killed on the side somewhere. And I'm like, well, she had a whole team.
Yeah.
Did they all get killed?
Right.
Are you telling me that the only killer here is the head of the FBI? Is the main bad guy here?
No, okay, so she works for the Marshal's office. He's the head of the Marshal's, not the FBI. They made a point to say that.
Oh wait, he's the
deputy director of the
Marshal's?
U.S. Marshal Office. Yeah.
Okay.
That's what they said. So, yeah, and he's a bad guy, and he's working for the mob, and he's the mole. He's the one that ratted them out and, gave the location away and set up that whole Mark Wahlberg thing and shit. So
the Marshal's office can get fighter jets to fly alongside of a plane?
Yeah. If there's a threat, I would think they could, yeah.
I feel like the Marshals can't do that. I feel like that they would have to get another organization. I thought they were talking about the FBI.
It's possible they were. I mean, who knows?
So weird.
That would be thinking too much into this piece of crap.
You talked about the actress being dreadful.
She's
Can you give me some Like reasons why you said that?
There's a scene in the film where she finds out that her friend, played by Leah Remini, oddly enough, we never see her. That's
Oh
her
my
voice,
God.
though.
Oh,
That's her
jeez.
voice.
Okay.
Over the phone we hear her. We find that she finds out that her friend is dead, and the acting when she finds that out, when she tries to cry, it's almost like she's going for it and she's gonna cry and like have a breakdown, but she just stops. She just gives up like within 3 seconds. She's fine. She's just like, oh my God, how could this have happened?
Yeah.
Like it changes so quickly. Like we thought we were gonna get a good scene. No, nothing.
Yeah, and it's what's funny about that too is Mark Wahlberg decides not to talk when it's necessary for the plot, but the moment that scene stops, Mark Wahlberg starts talking. He hasn't talked for a bit, and he's not like mocking her for crying or freaking out, which would be more creepy and more off-putting. Instead, he waits for his turn. He's a polite psychopath. It's very, very odd.
Yeah,
all
and
around.
I don't get like U.S. Marshal out of her.
No.
I feel like she's just
And that's another one of those lump on the chalkboard of why she was her friend was originally the intended villain, because she picked her and she had previous experience with failing protecting her witness. Mm-hmm. And it's like, oh well, obviously.
Yeah,
Why would they
obviously,
put me in charge?
her friend probably. Well, this is what I was thinking in the beginning is that her friend probably put her in charge because she knew that she would fail,
and she even says it.
yeah, and it turned out to be the other guy, which they thought they were doing like a little switcheroo. I was like, this is so obvious. It's so obvious. Obviously, someone knew that in the marshal office where you were going and planted this fake pilot and everything. Like, come on, man. Like, this is the most predictable plot of all time. And it was poorly acted. It was just shit. And I, like I said, it's pretty bad when the only saving grace is, oh, God damn it, Topher Grace.
Oh,
I didn't mean to say that.
Good setup. Good setup.
I did not mean to say that.
And he's not, because I kept thinking everything I said in the before about my worries about him being an actor and how he only is himself. It all was in this movie.
Yeah, but at least he was different than the other two. I mean, Mark Wahlberg is
guess.
hamming it up like he was, just...
But he was one's playing a whiny girl. You know what I mean? Like Topher Grace is playing like a whiny, like, he's not playing like a manly character.
No, he's not.
He's playing a really, really like just complaining, annoying, nagging character.
Which is crazy too, because like you're a freaking cleaner for the mob.
Yeah, and
and you
like,
don't have a backbone of any kind.
Yeah, and Mark Wahlberg's like, use your brain. You're a mathematician.
Right.
Like, do the numbers, dude. And I'm like, yeah, do something with this.
Something. Like he was like a whiny little bitch.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, at least he did something different,
I mean, I guess when you only have three characters and you have one is a rapist psychopath and the other one is, I guess that's what you do is you make the comic relief nagging character, and then you have the other one be the strong.
Yeah, but she wasn't strong at all. She sucked.
She made so many bad decisions.
She really
This movie is
did.
filled with bad decisions. If you're a kind of person who hates movies that characters just do dumb shit, I wish I would have said this in the
During the pool?
the review episode.
Oh.
Just in the review part of this episode, I would have said if you hate characters doing dumb things, this is a movie you got to stay away from.
Yeah.
Because the whole movie is just one dumb thing after another.
It truly is. It truly is.
It's filled with really bad ideas for a movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I've
they didn't
seen-
even try to make it believable. Like, they use this plane that's literally being held together by bubble gum, and it's like, okay, why would you ever put an important witness in a like rust bucket like this? Like, come on, man, I don't get that. That's ridiculous. Like, you've seen U.S. Marshals on commercial planes. I don't understand. Put them on a commercial plane. I guess because movie, but it's just the whole plane was just such a piece of shit, and it was a ridiculous plot.
Yeah, it's a bad one. I didn't expect it to be as bad. I thought maybe it would be a little exciting, especially knowing Mel Gibson's directing.
You gave it a freaking 4. I'm out on that. This movie is crap.
I've seen much worse. I'll say that much.
I mean, of course we have. We've seen much worse. But think about it. Was there anything that made you go, "Oh, that's neat"? There was nothing. You said you like the shots from inside the plane. Okay.
No, not from inside the plane, outside the plane. Inside the plane, there's a part where the plane is crashing, and they're crashing for a while. And I kept going, even the background green screen cannot figure out how far and close they are from the trees.
Right. Yeah.
It looked terrible.
And Topher Grace is over there freaking dying from 2 stab wounds, and he's getting jostled around, so his neck is probably snapped.
He is
when they're crashing,
dead in this film.
Yeah. I mean, literally.
He got a knife stab. Like, he got stabbed with
That's a hunting knife. It looked like a hunting knife.
Twice in the chest.
Yeah.
And
he's
like, this guy's dead.
Drained of all life, and he's getting jostled around during the crash. I'm like, he made it. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because, you have to have an uplifting ending because her last witness died. So she has to make sure this witness stays alive.
Yeah. And did you also notice the parallels of, like, trying to be, like, Die Hard-ish?
Yes.
With, like, he's talking to, the guy in the car, which is, going to be the cop. And you're going to find out a little backstory about that cop. Mm-hmm. And so that cop ends up doing the thing at the end that this is how you make a movie. Mm-hmm. And this movie goes, yeah, we're not going to show you any of these people so you feel like they're robots or none of them exist in real life. And in this movie, instead, at the end, it's like, no, he's a real person and he's there. And it's like supposed to be some kind of big moment. But instead, something else happens, and they do the Die Hard shoot. Instead of that character learning about this character as the support on the phone, which they should have done.
She gets to see Hassan, who helped guide her land the plane.
Yeah, he just shows up like he walked out of a soap opera.
Oh my god, I know.
And
like
it's
how
just
over
so
the
goofy.
top.
And then she does the Die Hard shoot the villain thing because one of the bad guys is there, and I kept thinking, wow, this movie is taking some ideas from like better films and not knowing why those other films work. Because you have to make these other characters make sense in that world, so you have a together moment, where everybody comes together and everything pays off. Nothing is paying off. You could care less. Even at the end, I'm glad you told me it wasn't the FBI director. It was some kind of marshal director. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of people working for him. There is no reason to believe her over him, except at the end, stupid. Why would a villain do this? Calls a random hitman again and is on the phone yelling at him after he's been killed.
Yeah,
and I was like,
stupidest
oh
criminal of all
God,
time.
man,
And this
on.
guy is dressed like an EMT. So he gets into the ambulance with Topher Grace and he puts a fucking plastic bag over his head. Like, honestly, it would take you less time to just take a knife and finish the job. Like,
or
what
inject
are you
him with
doing?
something and walk away.
Yeah.
Instead, he puts a plastic bag on his head.
Yeah, and she sees this through the window of the ambulance and opens the door and shoots the guy. Now, this is just so over the top. If the mob wanted someone dead, they'd be dead. Okay, this is so extra. It's taking way too long. And when they went to get him in the cabin, in the motel in the beginning, they could have just sent a couple of goons there to shoot him.
Well,
like, come on.
It's even worse than that because it actually isn't the mob. It's this guy who he paid off at the Marshals. The director of the Marshals is the guy who's being paid, so he's trying to stop it.
Right, I get that.
So you think that since he's the head of the Marshals, he already has, all you got to do is the person she got sent to get him, he could have put something in that spot.
Right.
And just, no, I don't trust your pick of that guy, of that girl, because she messed up before, and then put somebody in there that works for him and have him killed.
Right.
That guy. And it's
just
instantly.
so extra.
When Mark Wahlberg opened the plane door, and he shuts a plane door randomly, and then Topher Grace is like, where'd he go? And then no one talks about it again, then he just walks in the door.
Mm-hmm.
In the plane. And then I'm like, why don't you just throw a grenade in there?
Right.
Why don't you just shoot them? Oh, no, he has to sexually talk about how he's going to molest them.
It's just so
I'm
over the top.
Why?
It was just
I just
too extra.
The choices I just don't understand it. Like, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got nothing else.
I told you, it's a piece of crap. I mean,
The guy helping them with the flying, I think that might be the worst thing about the whole movie.
I think
to
that
me.
dialogue, Hassan trying to guide her with, and then in between this tense life or death situation, he's asking her to go dancing and telling her about his favorite restaurant and all this shit.
What you could say is something that they do to make sure the person flying feels comfortable and is a way of easing them through a tough situation. I can see that being a thing, but here it is very off-putting and strange.
It's not needed. It's just not needed. There are ways to do that without sounding like a creep.
Yeah.
And every decision in this movie was poor. Every decision. And this is not helping my Mark Wahlberg argument at all. At all. I mean, he's not a good actor. He's fucking not a good actor. It's just he was just going for it during this. And I'm sure he got paid a lot of money and his dialogue was trash and he looked like a goober. He just looked like a goober.
Yeah.
Everything that he did in this, he was just a goober.
Weird choices.
His line delivery, the acting, all of it. Gooberish. Goober. I couldn't take it. 3 stars.
All right. Is there any other part of thought before before we leave?
No, you can totally skip this one. And I mean, skip it by not even watching it on streaming for free. Just don't. It's not worth your time.
I'm sure curiosity will get you if you want to see this movie. I definitely think it's a pass.
Oh,
you
God.
don't even need to know it exists.
I mean, unless you like watching bad movies like we do. This one wasn't even so bad. It's good. It was just bad.
Yeah.
There was nothing entertaining in it for me. It's nothing. It's crap. Sorry for my bluntness, but I got to tell the truth. It's trash.
All right. Well, as always, thanks for listening, guys. Tell us what you think about Flight Risk on Instagram at Joe at the Crafty Misfit and me at the Just Another Movie Night. I'd love to hear it. And until next time, have a good one. Bye.
Y'all need a pilot?